Hi, I'm Tenji. I'm an executive coach, and today we're talking about how to get promoted faster to a senior leadership role if you're currently a middle manager. There's a couple of challenges that arise, and I have 3 strategies that can help you to overcome them so you get there faster and with a lot more confidence. Let's talk about these challenges. The first thing that I see is low confidence. I see leaders coming to me with a level of imposter syndrome because they're not quite sure what does it really take to lead at the level that they're trying to go to. They also feel a bit of imposter syndrome. I knew how to do the job I'm doing now, but I'm not 100% sure I can do the job that I want to go to next. I'm not really, it's been a while, especially if there's been some time, right? But between your current role and your next promotion, it can wear a little bit on your confidence. And I also see some people really struggling to frame what is their story and why me. The second thing I see is people working really, really hard and not being visible and feeling unrecognized. This is typically because as a mid-level manager, for the first 2 levels of leadership, delivery is enough. Your work product kind of does speak for itself, and your immediate leader can see it, values it, wants more leverage, boom, to the next role. But then what it takes at a more senior level is things like your ability to drive more systematic impact throughout the organization, to really bring to bear the assets of the organization against the strategic goals of the business. And those things are a bit more nebulous. It's not obvious in your delivery that you can do these things. And the stakeholders that need to come to the table to promote you is more varied and more complex. You're not just relying on one person. So you're working really hard, but you're really not quite being seen and positioned in a new way that represents and puts forward your leadership potential and impact. And the last challenge that I see is passively waiting for the promotion event to happen. Sometimes, yes, people are excited about that. It's us in the organization. We run into them and they're like, oh, you're going to be a great leader one day. That's wonderful. Yeah, you seem quite ready. And then what's happening? Nothing. And we're waiting for someone else to lead the process for us. Typically our manager or HR or whoever it is running the open position that we wish we could raise our hands for. So we are passively waiting and we're not actively participating. And so we can feel left behind, and we can feel sometimes, right? People who are running that process may not even know that you want to be in the running. And so what are 3 strategies that I have come up with that can help to relieve some of these problems and challenges you're facing? Let's first talk about confidence. The first thing you need to do is step up confidently. Now, within stepping up confidently, there are a few accelerators that you can drive here. The first is knowing why. Having a very clear and compelling vision that you can believe in, clearly articulate to others, that galvanizes you to move yourself forward. The opportunity cost of you staying in this role is so great because you know what it means to you to be at the different level, the impact that you could have, etc. The second piece is having a sure target. I have so many people come to me not even clear around which role are they thinking about and what would be possible for them. So here it's about actually clarifying what is the role that you're aiming for. What level does it sit at? Which department is it in? What type of work does it do? Okay. And what is required to deliver in this role, right? And then what is the typical timeline for someone like you at your level to get from where you are to that role so that you can create a roadmap to connect the two, right? Without a clear role, what are you aiming towards? The last piece is believing that you can. This piece is about combating that imposter syndrome. So building enough data points so that you can really trust in not just your delivery competence that got you here, but you can start being able to see the ways in which you are already ready and delivering against the role that you're aiming for. So it's really about mapping out that role you desire, knowing where you are right now, really quantifying in real terms what that gap is so that the gap does not haunt you at night. Anything we bring into the light, we can now address and have a plan behind. So you understand what that gap is and you own your confidence, you own your readiness so that you can step forward on the basis of this, not shrink back on the basis of this. Make sense? And then in doing that, we transition into working smart and not hard. So when you're clear on where you want to go and why and what the role is, you start being strategic about generating demand for you as a leader. You're not at that level yet. Right now, you're just a manager. But leaders think strategically. They interact in certain ways. Their values and perspectives are desired in certain fora. So how do you start demonstrating the way in which you can contribute against the strategic objectives of the business and the highest value creating streams in your company? So this is about really mapping out what matters to the company here, right? The company's culture, the values, the performance metrics, etc. You over here, how have I contributed towards the culture, the values, the performance metrics, etc.? And being able to start telling a story that says, this is who you are and what you want from a leader, and this is who I am and how I could meet that, right? And then the second piece is now closing the perception gap. Once you've mapped these two out, there's how you know that you're meeting these needs, and then there's a perception of how well you're meeting these needs. And what you need to be able to do is step back and understand the perception in your market, right? Your company, of what you are and how ready you are and how well you deliver, and close that perception gap. So you need to get intel, and then you need to start crafting your story and telling it to the right people. And that bleeds into being known. That's the third accelerator for working smart and not hard. This is about identifying what is your value proposition and who needs to know it so that they can make a decision about whether or not you should be the leader in the role that you're desiring, right? So understanding with this map we talked about earlier, articulating it into a story that you can start telling to the right people. So you can imagine it as a market where you're the supply and there's a demand out there, right? You need to go and tell the potential customers of you, hi, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is why I'm valuable, and linking it very tightly to the objectives and strategic goals of the business. And it's not telling the same story to every stakeholder. It's knowing how to vary your story in terms of content, in terms of delivery, in terms of length, depending on your audience. So that's having a sharp and tailored value proposition that's told to influential stakeholders, not your friends and not people who don't have promotion clout. All right, now let's talk about the last piece, which is setting up your promotion event. Okay, this means firstly, creating a team of strong supporters who can help you to get to your promotion. These are people who are usually high social influencers, more senior leaders than you, decision makers on the committees or in the rooms where your promotion will be discussed. And that bleeds into sponsors, right, who can put your name forward and open doors for you. And lastly, mentors who can guide you along this whole process we're speaking about so that you can course correct as you go and really get ready, right? So first is identifying who in your organization is in this team and then rallying them for support. The second piece is having a clear plan. So if you know right now, okay, I've gotten the buy-in, there's people who really would support my promotion, right? How do you go from a conversation where they say, yeah, this would be exciting to you, to saying, Tenji, we'd like to discuss the possibility of you for this role in Q2 of this year. By July 2022, we'd like to have a conversation. Sometimes you have to be the one to push for the committed date, right? And in order to get the committed date, you need to understand what are the core steps to get there, right? So in order to get promoted, you need certain feedback to be coming in about you. You need to have demonstrated, for some organization, you need international experience that you have to bring to the table. And if you don't have that, maybe your promotion is 1 year out while you do an international rotation, so that by the time your application or your candidacy is on the table, you're checking all the prerequisite boxes, right? And then the last piece is really owning the creation of that event. So saying, hey, if I'm going to be up for review committee, for promotion committee at the end of this year, what is the date for that? And where are we now? And what is the timeline to get there? What are the steps to get there? What do I need to do? And what does my team need to do for me? The second piece, or if you are seeking an organic promotion, is to say, hey, manager, when can we get together to decide? When would your exco sit down and decide on the hiring? Or when will this role be open for hiring? If there is no date, can we have a conversation about this in a month's time? Right? You take the reins instead of waiting for them to tell you, oh, we think we might be ready in... You see the way I'm just dancing around? It's nebulous, it's not clear, and people are willing to commit if you help them to commit. And this may all sound very aggressive and rah, 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 but guess what? Leadership is about taking ownership. It is about really being willing to step up and lead and guide people and processes towards outcomes that you desire. So absolutely, you need to lead your promotion process. If you do all these three things, I can guarantee you that you will get promoted to a more senior role faster and more effectively in your organization. Now, if this is something that you would like help with, I've created a group that I've brought together of other managers and leaders just like yourself who are working together towards this. If you'd like to find out more and potentially join this group, drop me a note. In the comments below, you can just write promote, or you can send me a direct message and I'll send you all the details. All right, I hope this was helpful.